Years can a mountain exist before it is washed to the sea? And how many years can some people exist before they're allowed to be free? And how many times can a man turn his head? Hi, I'm Lanny Kaufer, and I'd like to tell you about a musical multimedia presentation I can bring to your school or community organization entitled Martin Luther King and the Spirit of the 60s. Right now, I'm a retired high school teacher from Ojai, California. But in the spring of 1965, I was an 18-year-old freshman at UC Santa Barbara when I heard Reverend Hosea Williams give a speech, and I signed up for Dr. King's SCOPE project, Summer Community Organization and Political Education. I was one of about 500 SCOPE volunteers, mostly college students, who went to the South that summer to register African Americans to vote and establish improvement associations in underrepresented counties throughout the southern states. After orientation and training in Atlanta, our group was assigned to Sussex County in southern Virginia, where most of the black population worked in the lumber industry or the peanut fields. Both operations were owned and controlled by one man, who was their employer and for most of them their landlord too. And he was the president of the bank and their state senator. Naturally, the fear of his power over so many aspects of their lives made many local African Americans hesitant to be seen with us. As soon as we arrived, however, the teenagers gravitated to us and soon became our friends and co-workers. We taught them the freedom songs we had learned in Atlanta, and there was no stopping them from then on. I'm glad I have at least this one blurry photo of me and some of my new friends at work in our makeshift SCOPE office. At the same time, we made some instant enemies among the local whites. One restaurant owner closed her business forever the day a mixed group of SCOPE workers and local kids tried to order some food. The ugly sign she put up was a constant reminder of the dark side of the South's history, still very much alive in Virginia in 1965. Before we could begin adding African Americans to the voter rolls, we had a big challenge: getting the county electoral board to open the voter registration office more than the existing 2 hours once a month on a Monday afternoon. After exhausting the usual bureaucratic channels, we organized a march and rally at the courthouse. Then more demonstrations at the registrar's office, even overwhelming his 2-hour time slot on one Monday afternoon. And still more demonstrations, all to no avail. Finally, we had no choice but to drive to Washington, D.C. to the Justice Department. They contacted the local officials, the registration hours were expanded, and at last we could get down to the business of walking the streets and country roads, talking to people about voting. Not only did I have the honor of meeting Dr. King that summer, but even more thrilling was hearing him give a speech. His powerful presence inspired in me a lifetime commitment to his method and his message. And I believe his message is even more important today than it was when he gave his famous "I Have a Dream" speech. Our SCOPE group had other adventures, confrontations, and close calls that I can share when I give my presentation. But to make a long story short, our project was a success, a true testament to Dr. King's vision. And we were just one of many SCOPE projects that fanned across the South that summer, as described in Willie Leventhal's book, The Scope of Freedom. Thousands of new voters were registered, and the political landscape began to change. African Americans were empowered to shrug off centuries of discrimination and claim their constitutional rights. In fact, after we left Sussex County, our teenage friends led their own protest march and integrated their local high school. Most importantly, the humble little Sussex County Improvement Association that we helped to start in 1965 is now a successful nonprofit organization combating poverty with a budget of $3 million and a staff of 35. So yes, Dr. King was right. Nonviolent social action does work. Each one of us can make a difference. In fact, our democracy depends on our active participation in it. And that is the message of my presentation, Martin Luther King and the Spirit of the 60s. Illustrating my first-hand account with a video slideshow history, I also play guitar and sing some of the songs that formed the soundtrack of the movement. As a retired teacher, I know the importance of enforcing the state content standards. So for school groups, I can provide you with a list of the standards I address. Please keep watching for some testimonials from students and staff at schools where I've presented, and then use the contact information at the end to schedule a presentation in your area. Thanks for watching.
You gotta do what the Spirit say do. You gotta do what the Spirit say do. And if the Spirit say do, you gotta do, oh Lord. Do what the Spirit say do. You gotta vote if the Spirit say vote. You gotta vote if the Spirit say vote. And if the Spirit say vote, you gotta vote, oh Lord. Vote if the Spirit say vote. You gotta march if the Spirit say march. You gotta march if the Spirit say march. And if the Spirit say march, you gotta march, oh Lord. March if the Spirit say march. You gotta sing if the Spirit say sing. You gotta sing if the Spirit say sing. And if the Spirit say sing, you gotta sing, oh Lord. Sing if the Spirit say sing. You gotta do what the Spirit say do. Do what the Spirit say do. And if the Spirit say do, you gotta do, oh Lord. Do what the Spirit say do. You gotta walk if the Spirit say walk. You gotta walk if the Spirit say walk. And if the Spirit say walk, you gotta walk, oh Lord. Walk if the Spirit say walk. You gotta talk if the Spirit say talk. You gotta talk if the Spirit say talk. And if the Spirit say talk, you gotta talk, oh Lord. Talk if the Spirit say talk. You gotta work if the Spirit say work. You gotta